Okay, now we're here. We're here. We are here.
Yes, we
We are
are.
here. Wow, what a time we're having today.
Oh, yeah.
Technical problems already. Technical problems already. Such is life, even in
Yes,
relationships, huh?
absolutely. There's always storms. It's how you weather them that count.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
sounded prolific more than I am.
No, you are because you said it.
Yeah.
You are who you say that you are and what you believe. So yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Hey, once you kind of get us started, I'm still got to do some, as they call, what is it, house cleaning? Is that what they call
Yes.
it?
Yes. Some housekeeping.
Housekeeping, yes, because
Yes.
this is really, again, because I'm engineering everything, that makes me have to be
He wears
the
multiple
the
hats.
the what is it, the cook and the bottle washer, or the bottle washer doesn't like to cook, or which one was it?
Chief cook and bottle wash doesn't
Mm,
necessarily mean you want to do any of them.
that's true. That's true.
But if that's what keeps the ship afloat, as I speak in metaphor today, I don't know
Hmm.
why. But sometimes you have to do what's going to take to keep things going.
Exactly.
And this is one of those things. In a perfect world, you would be able to sit back and relax
Be
and
perfect
run the show.
and be perfect.
Yes, but now you have to sit back, sit up,
Spit up.
relax, not relax, engineer, run the
Hmm.
show, be the
Let's
host,
put some
talk,
music on the
all of that.
background.
Yes.
We'll put it down low. I think last time they said it was
Yeah,
too.
last time it was too high.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Let me put it right here.
Yeah, that's good. Um, so you are Craig or Imar,
Mm-hmm.
and I am Sharon or Zare,
Mm-hmm.
and we are taking the journey together. We have been taking this journey together for quite a few years. And as a
Mm-hmm.
matter of fact, we were taking it together even before we moved into this area.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yes. So we have been talking to everybody and people about making sure we have a balanced, healthy relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
so, what I'm going to start with is our belief statement.
Exactly.
And I'm going to read the belief statement so that I don't get caught up in a long diatribe. And it
Mm-hmm.
says, we are going to relate. It doesn't matter what your mother says, your father says, your children, or even what Jesus says. We are going to relate. At taking the journey together, we believe in relating in a balanced manner. Balanced relationships are the ones that are entered into as friends first and lovers second, but has both aspects in each partner.
Yeah, I always think when that was put together, how many people really believe in the relationships when it's been put so long. That you really should marry. You shouldn't have a long distance relationship. A lot, not a long distance, but a close relationship with a friend. Movies show it, television, books even show it. It don't really push the idea of having a close relationship with a friend. Though today it is. It's something I believe for years and have preached about. But there's still today a strong system that says, no, don't think about it.
And it's still
It's not,
trickling.
it's not, it's not necessary.
And it's still
It don't
trickling
take all
into the
that.
younger people too,
Hmm.
because there's a divide.
Hmm.
Some of them understand friendship and they trickle in, but most of the young people that are 18ish
Hmm.
are not like the ones that are in their late 20s and 30s and all that, who
Really?
believe in friendship. The younger ones that are
Okay.
entering into relationships now,
Hmm.
they will tell you very quickly, oh, we can't date, that's my friend and I don't want to mess it up.
Are you serious?
I am serious. I'm
Is
hearing
that's
more
what
and
the
more
new
of
one's
that.
saying?
Yes, it's going backward. And
Oh, wow.
and so I sit
Where are
there
you at that you actually hear this?
at my job.
Oh, and what do you work at, the local 7-Eleven?
No, I'm
What?
at school. I teach.
Oh, okay. Some people
Oh,
new
that's true.
coming on,
There's
they
some
don't
new
know that.
there's some
So,
newcomers. So yeah, I teach and I teach high school. And so
hmm,
I'm listening to and talking to these young people, and I hear them in their conversations, and I will butt in about, no, you want somebody that's a friend,
hmm,
because otherwise you have a better chance of ending up with an adversary.
hmm,
And they
hmm.
say, yeah, but I don't want to mess up our friendship. I'm like, how can that mess up your friendship? If you have a true friendship, it'll only make it better.
Yes, the subconsciousness, which is in your mind, doesn't really know the difference between good or evil, bad or not bad, runs all the time, basically takes input it gets from its senses in this life, in this culture. And our cultures have pushed up, especially African American cultures have pushed that. Now you are not to be a lover or a close relationship with someone's your friend. It ain't gonna work. It's a waste of time. So stop it.
Yeah.
And so that's what you find. That's what you get.
Yes.
And it's really sad that that's still being pushed. I'm not going to ask you if you hear it from all. Hey, my face is being cut out. I'm not even going to ask you. I don't know why the range of the camera is not as well as it usually is. But anyway, I'm not going to ask you were they all Afro Americans or were they
Both. It
both.
doesn't matter.
So that's a push now.
It's a mixture of ethnicities that are saying that.
So you think it's going backwards?
I feel like it's going backward. I feel that they are not seeing a good representation of what relationships are. I'm also finding that a lot of them, not all of them, but a good number of them are either in families that are going through divorce, have gone through divorce, or have been single parents. They're not as stable as we would expect them to be. And so the gamut, but I of them are not having good, what they feel like are good role models, and where they can see what friendship is. Now, there was one young lady last year that I talked to, and her parents, they went on dates and they did sporadic weekends away and things of that sort. And so she had an idea that that was okay and that friendship was good. But for the most part,
come over a little bit.
Okay, gladly.
Yes,
Yeah.
there we go. I think
Yeah.
that might work just a little bit for you, and might be able to get me in a little bit because I'm just kind of cut. But anyway, keep on going on. This is
Yes.
that technical stuff.
Yes,
I
I understand.
Yeah.
And so, it's one of those things that where do we fix the 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 pointer, I guess you could say, so that they see a different light.
The no doubt about it. The understanding of much better. The understanding of saying that it's okay for you to be a friend with someone you're living with, someone you're having children with, someone you're close to, is definitely not whatsoever I did that should not be thought about.
Right.
I do know this. Looking through history and looking through past, there were many special, unique relationships that people would talk about that said, the unique thing about this particular couple, they were friends.
Yes.
Think about a relationship from the past that was famous, because I'm going to use this because that will help everybody out, that when they speak about that relationship, they would definitely say that those two were friends.
Do you want me to say one?
Yeah.
Ruby Dee and Ozzie Davis.
That was the same person, the couple that just came to my mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. That was the same couple that would come to mind.
They, I read something about the two of them where they supported each other in their careers. They didn't have that jealousy of one person is getting more notoriety than the other, but it was more of a support. It was more, oh wow, you got that role. But then it went a little further too. You got that role, but guess what? If he got a role, he tried to pull her into it. If she got a role, she tried to pull him into it.
Exactly.
So they were in so many movies together.
Yep.
And in most of them, they either played married or friends or something close. They were in some type of a relationship in most of the movies.
That was always the dynamics or the pattern, is that they got to play as couple.
They were,
and you could tell when they played the couple, they were very close as friends.
And it was strange seeing her in
what's that?
A Raisin in the Sun, when she played opposite Sidney Poitier. even though they're both wonderful actors, it just wasn't the same chemistry as when she
It's
played
played with her.
opposite
Mhm.
Ozzie Davis.
There's another one I could think of since I asked that. A lot of people would say that the former president Barack Obama and his wife.
Yes.
A lot of people would say that they made and looked at themselves, or people looked at them as being a power couple, and that powerness in the couple, or the energy or the foundation of the
Hmm.
power that showed and reflected themselves as being a power couple was friendship.
Yes.
They even spoke about how they
Yes.
were friends. And in fact, a lot of power couples, that very power that is always described about those couples, the first most uniqueness is that they act as what?
Friends.
As
Hmm.
friends. So it's not anything that's unusual. It's not anything that's unlikely. It's just a diamond uniqueness that is a quality in a relationship that can be obtained and should be obtained and should be a, to me, this is to
Hmm.
me, a regular requirement that you should have and feel about if you're going into a relationship.
Right.
Hmm?
I agree.
It's just what I might call a natural human thing.
Yes. Yes.
Don't you think?
I think so.
Okay.
And one of the problems is people don't want to
Mm-hmm.
sit down and talk
Oh, I
and
put up something
build.
to Cash App here. By the way, I'm sorry about that.
Oh, okay.
Cash App, send some money in to our channel here. Hey, listen, we need finances, we need funds, someone to support an engineer to run our program. Send your dimes, send your pennies, send your dollars. So the guy in the background named Julius doesn't have to keep on taking all the money out of the household from his kids, from his family, and everything else. Come on
Dollar
now.
sign,
I
all
know
things
you
relevant.
have some money
Yes. Dollar
that you can
sign,
be a help.
all things relevant.
Exactly.
And that is
Consider to
that's
be a sponsor.
donating to a good charge,
Ah,
good cause. Why can't I talk?
because you just is not too much of a salesperson. But the information we give, we know that if you're going to a counselor, we know that if you were going to a coach, they would charge you a lot of money. We don't. You're getting it away, and you're getting it free. How's that? Not get away, but because we're freely giving it, so you're getting it
Yes.
free. So please give. And what a way to be able to make that, how can I say it, a human thing. That when you get something freely, you will feel very much comfortable to give back. If it's doing you some good, if it's
Mhm.
lifting you up, if it's some information that moves you. We hear a lot when we're out, those who listen that, well, thank you for this information. It really moved me. It really was
Yes.
something that I needed to hear. So we know that there were some out there listening and they're being touched
One
at the same
thing
time.
one thing I never will forget was when
Mm-hmm.
we were talking to this one lady, and we mentioned the
What lady
show.
was this?
I'm not going to put her name out there
Oh,
because
okay.
she's pretty well known.
Mm-hmm.
And we mentioned the show, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I know about that. My daughter and her husband, my children listened to it, and they got me listening to it."
Mm.
And we were at a parade, and just happened to be talking to her. We were getting ready to start this
Mm-hmm.
parade, and happened to be talking to her, and that's how it came up. And it was a shock because she is such a well-known person and so busy that you don't think that people in those situations would stop and say, "Oh, this is something that I can benefit from," because they don't have time to think about it.
Well, most of the time, people think that the appearance is, they don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
Your relationship is going fine. You don't need it. Taking the journey together is all about maintaining, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and many times doing maintenance to polish your relationship,
Yes.
to have your relationship even that much more fine too.
Mm-hmm.
You might need to, like a home, you may need to remodel the whole thing. Both need
Yes.
to. So taking the journey in there together in the information that we give you is for that purpose. And there's nobody that you could tell, at least me, that your relationship is so perfect here on earth that you just don't need anything more. That is not true. Perfect don't exist on this earth anyway. So we're talking about, this is about bringing balance to a relationship. Again, this is human nature. Human nature. Nature moves with a balance.
Yes, it
They say
does.
yin and yang, and in between the balance, being able to between the two,
Hmm.
and that's how life grows because of that. So we've been talking about what?
Human nature relationships.
Exactly. We've been talking about having a relationship is all part of being human because
Hmm.
it's natural.
It
That's
is.
right. Having a relationship, a long term relationship with someone is natural. It's part of being human. And there is nothing wrong with this. Now, we already found out talking before how a lot of people feel uncomfortable in relationships. Okay. I'm going to say something that somebody will be kind of upset when they hear me say it, but I'm saying anyway. There are some who say, I can do better by myself. I don't need a relationship. I'm not going to get into
Liar.
that. I don't need a man or I need a woman. I
Liar.
just don't need a relationship
Liar.
whatsoever. And I don't want to get into the detail of, well, is it psychologically good, or are you in turn talking about trying to shut yourself out in in seclusion, or as some people would say, when there is someone in the penal system and we really want to torture them, the first thing we do is take them out of the body of the prisoners, and then we put them in where?
Solitary.
Solitude. And with solitude, we know we can drive them crazy or give them the most amount of pressure. In some, they would say that's even better than us killing you. Okay.
Yes.
So, not getting into that, though, I did kind of hedge that as a extreme, like I usually do. The thing is, as a human being, having a relationship is natural. It's just
It
natural.
is.
So there's nothing uncomfortable with it. And most folks who may say that, most of the time, okay,
Hmm.
they're almost giving the impression, okay, that it is more natural for me to be alone and not be in a relationship at all. You might as well flip and say, I don't think it's human natural for you to have to be or even have a
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah,
What,
you're
what do you
right.
think about
You're
that?
right. I think everybody needs a relationship, and everybody is in a relationship. And when someone talks about, I don't need to, I don't need a relationship, I don't need to be in a relationship, then why do you go to work? Why do you go to family situations? Why do you go to church? Why do you, get on social media? You'll have a relationship with total strangers and call them your friends on social media, and you say you don't need a relationship. You're starving for a relationship when you
Mhm.
get to that point.
Yes, yes. Human nature is is every bit of the fuel of relationships. That's right. Human nature. Nature itself is all about relationships. You can look
Yes.
outside. You can look at the animals. You can look at all of, if not most of the plant life. Relationship is there. We're not even getting to when it comes to air and the sun, the clouds and rain, how there's all of a symbiotic relationship. Symbiotic means they're all connected one way or the other, and they
Hmm.
operate well, influencing one way or the other. But we don't usually necessarily think about it with human relations. That it's better defined as our systems. I
Yes.
gave you some many our relationships between our body, mind, our culture, and
Hmm.
our environment, and
Yes.
how we promote that sustainable living life.
Hmm.
Now, I understand when we concentrate on the human part, wow, there are some human beings for being leaders. We look at the political leadership today and how it's such polarized as can be. We look at leadership from the past. We look about maybe leadership of your mom, your dad. We look at a lot of leadership of humans in general. And usually the consensus is humans could destroy the world.
Yes.
And animals and plants, they're at the beckoning mercy of humans. Some folks will culturally break down and say, certain cultures, certain races are all about trying to destroy the world or destroy another culture or destroy another race. The bottom line is people, humans, we look at them, we interface with them, even in our own relationship, what we'll talk
Hmm.
about many times, especially
Yes.
survival ones. And we say, I don't see,
Yes.
oh, we went off a little bit. I don't know why we got a bad connection all of a sudden, but I don't see any human nature in them. I don't see any humaneness in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And and sometimes that's because you're not looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that makes a difference. When you're not looking for it, you won't find it. I think one of the problems that we have
But
when
maybe it might be because you don't feel that you're
exactly,
human. You
exactly.
have, you're inhuman.
Yes.
Okay, you have a dark, low energy about yourself.
Yes.
You don't feel very empathetic.
Right.
You're a
Yes.
narcissistic. Okay,
Exactly.
you basically have no feelings for someone else if they're hurting,
Mm-hmm.
if they're in danger, whether it's on TV or someone that you physically know. You have no compassion or empathy for whatsoever. It doesn't move your emotions in an empathetic way, not one bit on the meter
Right.
at all.
Right.
So if you're like that, then you become one of those examples of those people out there who feel that when it comes to human nature, there's nothing good about human nature.
Right.
There's no characteristics that's going to move me to say that it's human.
No. And if you can't be moved to say it, then you can't be moved to do it.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
to act in that manner. And that's where a
Please
lot of
share.
us
Please share. I know some of the stuff we're talking about. It's kind of deep, kind of like, ooh, why would you talk about it in relationships? But we have to. We need to, because we're all talking about balance and healthiness. Please share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your mate, share it with someone that you feel that they need to know they're human and they're being humane to you in your relationship. Or maybe now you want to try to do that in return in
Yes.
the relationship. Go ahead.
Yes. I forgot where I was going at that particular moment because I got so caught up in what you were just saying just now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's okay. That's how we do.
Mhm.
Obviously, you know how the saying goes: if it was
Mhm.
that important, it's going to come back around.
Yes.
And so I'll just catch it when it comes back around.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, let's move into some of the things that we talked about before that need to be trying as new ways to establish that humanness in the relationship.
Yes.
I say it's really just about establishing true friendship, unconditional
Yes.
friendship. That's what I really say, because that's the glue to me that creates a good, balanced, healthy relationship. I think that's the glue that creates all relationships
Right.
together. That friendship, the ability to want to draw one another and use unconditional love to connect.
Yes, but then once that connection is made,
Mm-hmm.
you have to still continue to put that focus on.
Got to work on it.
You know, when they say whatever you did to get that person is what you need to do to keep that person, it's called friendship.
Yes.
The friendship bond that went in to getting you together, or the hint of friendship that you felt was there in the beginning. You need to keep that strong and build on it, because without that, you're gonna go off the, what they call it, off the grid.
Some people say we're going off the deep end, as they say.
That too.
And that's where we move into the area called domestic violence. I just was listening to,
or separation.
I was listening to one of those good testimonial talk internet YouTube programs that are out now. It's actually a channel, but it comes through Facebook.
Like a podcast.
Yeah. Well, no, not really. And one of them is called the Underbelly. Okay. There's another one that I call Unfiltered, and they are sitting down getting people to actually be open and honest and testify or give their story or tell their story of what they went through in life. And you're hearing some of the tremendous stories from folks who've been treated inhumane in their relationships. I'll give you an example real quick. There was a young black lady who this sister talked about. She grew up in a family where her dad killed her mom.
Wow.
Her mom was in the hospital at the time. The grandparents were around her. He walked in the hospital, walked to her bed, took a handkerchief, put it over her mouth and nose, and so many words suffocated her on the spot. But she still had tubes in her that came from him putting her in the hospital. and he walked out there cool and calm, and nothing could happen. But the grandparents and some of the hospital people did nothing because he was a notorious drug dealer who had no inhumaneness in him at all.
No humaneness.
There, that was just the
Yeah.
beginning of the life that she had to go through in her life. More than one relative raped her. More than one relative violently obstructed her life.
Mm.
Blessing wise, in her older years, after being abused, seeing death, seeing two family members, taking her kindness for weakness, abusing even her children as a generation thing going on, she then moved to what she felt to do through religion, which finding is God in so many words. And her life changed from that standpoint of view. And she stopped hanging on to that victimness feeling it was her problem. And that life itself was all about, how can I say it, making her the scapegoat for everybody else. And what happened was her brother, who was actually raping her after he had her come into her house, his house, after finding out that she was being raped by the dad. And he ended up having him and some other guys run a train on her. But on his deathbed, sometimes those things you in turn think you're getting away with, reaping and sowing comes back. So on his deathbed, almost being burned to death in a fire, he told her, I'm sorry for what I did. I was wrong for those years of raping you and causing this kind of damage. And she said that with that testimony, it released her from the victimizing thought was and is then was what do you think?
That she was responsible.
Exactly. It was her fault. That's right. Many a times, some of the pressures on the striving side of a relationship that's causing you bad feelings inside, guilt, and all that stuff, you are being made to feel like it's your problem. You did it. If you would have been better, if you would have thought better. And many times it's got nothing really to do with you. The only thing you had involved with it is that you submitted to it out of fear, out of ignorance, out of maybe it was a family tradition. Anywhere it goes. When she got released from that, from the victim, she no longer felt like a victimizer.
Right.
A victim, anymore. When she got released from the victimizer, I'm sorry.
Right.
In her life changed from there.
Wow.
Today, as we're talking, this is another example of someone who was being treated inhumane. And it took someone in their death, for whatever reason, to become humane himself after doing a tremendous amount of inhumaneness to his own sister. And with that humaneness touching her, she became humane about her own self. In our relationships, many times, we are both acting inhumane with each other because we don't feel human inside.
Right.
Past another boyfriend, another girlfriend, mom, dad, or something's happening someplace in our life, and we're both being inhumane to one another. It's going to take someone in that relationship to give up, someone who's going to be convicted and come to their terms that I want a humane relationship. I want to be human in my relationship, or humane in my relationship. And I can do that by confessing. I can do that by saying I'm sorry. I can do that from bringing empathy back in. But many times it's going to have to start with you.
Right.
Be able to release someone else.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that it's hard to do. It's hard to look at yourself and say, I'm the blame. I'm the cause. I'm the reason. Maybe it would help if you look at yourself and say, I can do better. And this is what I'm going to do to start doing better. And that first thing that you start to do to start being better is to express your sorrow or your upsetness to somebody else.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you can't say, it's my fault, I caused it. You can say, I'm not feeling good about what you've gone through, or I'm not feeling good about where we are, or something like that. I mean, there are ways that you can work yourself into it, but the important thing is you need to start being humane yourself towards somebody, especially if it's that somebody that you are mistreating.
You're caring about. Exactly.
Hmm.
There's no doubt, not about it, no doubt about it, that son was on his deathbed after being burnt so badly. That pain, there's just no doubt about it, moved him into empathy,
Yes.
because he definitely had to be feeling sorry for himself on that bed in the hospital, not going any place, burnt with third-degree burns. Oh, pain has a way to bringing you back around, or bring you around to your righteous mind,
And
and it did.
isn't it sad that you can't find yourself on your own? You have to go through something that is that detrimental to your life
Mhm.
to breathe life into somebody else whose life you took.
No doubt about it. Guilt, shame, and fear has everything to do with blocking you from being who you really are,
Yes.
how you really feel, because it puts up what some people say a shadow.
Hmm.
It puts up a guard. It
Yes.
puts up a, how can I say it, a block from you really feeling your
Hmm.
own heart.
Yes.
Let's go to a commercial, and we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about being humane. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. And we're back.
Taking the journey together.
Yes. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to speak the truth to power.
Hmm.
Power of fear, the power of pain, the power of manipulation keeps people from being what we call hot. And hot means what?
Honest, open, and transparent.
You can't move in a true balance relationship or friendship unless all three of those pieces are working like an engine, oiled, gassed up, and running. And how can I say it? Humming in good idle.
Yes. Yes.
And it's important in a balanced relationship, a healthy relationship, to have those things running on all those three cylinders. How's that?
Absolutely.
Now, we were just talking about a um, past experience that happened to a young lady who basically was part of one of those shows that you can testimonies that
Hmm.
you can get that pop up on YouTube that they're doing right now. It looks like it's a in thing because a lot of people listen, including I do. I like it because it doesn't sugarcoat life.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps it real and right.
Yes.
Most of the time, the end of the story that someone who's went through so tragically that when you looked at them, you could not believe that they end up usually coming around, and life has a way of bringing peace back, balance back, serenity back, health back, all because this person, at most of the time, they were the innocent one.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Not the guilty one, they were the innocent one.
Right.
And the ones I listened to who were guilty, they sometimes ended up coming back around because something tragic happened to them
Mm-hmm.
to have them confront where they were wrong on that very that they thought so easily was no problem at all in life.
Right.
We don't want that to happen in a balanced relationship. We want you to be able to operate as human, to establish, share values, and lean into your vulnerabilities. That's right. Some of those who in turn did some things that were uncomfortable, wrong, mean, outright hatred, it's because many times they were holding back their vulnerability.
Yes.
And those who were being treated mean, wrong, and uncomfortable, many times they in turn were being, how can I say it, blocked from being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And the relationship became unhealthy, codependent, and no one really felt like they were being treated as human or humanely.
Right. And that's one of those things that when you are in a relationship like that, it is more than just um, it's one you can't be in a balanced relationship when that is going on, is what I'm trying to say. uh, y- because it's already out of balance. If it wasn't out of balance, you wouldn't be in that position. You would be there for each other, for that balance, and you would be okay with being vulnerable with one another. It's okay to say, I have not been my best person all my life, because most of us have not. For us to say that I'm perfect, you need to live up to how I am, that's your opinion, and it is flawed. You're not being honest with yourself even when you do that. We've all had some times when we weren't our best example, and we can't throw that in somebody else's face and say, you know, you should be this way for me, you should be that way for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we, that's not being vulnerable. That's pointing fingers and alienating, I guess is what you could say.
Yeah, I think it's more about trying to alienate. So another important aspect is growing in that kind of relationship, not the
Mm-hmm.
one you spoke of,
Mm-hmm.
but a one that vulnerability is there,
Yes.
where you are open to develop your shared views. That's right. In a balanced, healthy relationship, you are working to create vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about you're trying to work out from showing vulnerability
Vulnerability.
so no one knows anything about it. You are trying to be more open to show your vulnerability. In
Mm-hmm.
this case, some of the things that you know are wrong about you.
Yes.
You're not trying to keep it hidden. You're not trying to act like it's not a problem. Let them only find it and then have to force it down your throat that you ain't doing this
Oh
right
yeah.
and make you feel guilty.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be made feel guilty anyway. If it does, and it does happen, shame on you. It's one of those things, you're reaping what you sow. In a balanced relationship, it's all about trying to work with one another together so that you guys get more healthier.
Exactly.
You get better. So you're about sharing those things that you know are a problem, uncomfortableness, or unbalance in your life. And that is that vulnerability
Yes.
that you are doing, because in your relationship, when it's healthy, you value that I can go to that person, and like young folks say out there, that person is going to have my back.
Exactly. And this is one of those situations, as an example, if you and your partner have a shared value of empathy in your relationship,
Mhm.
when things are difficult, each of you will choose to hear the other person out
Mhm.
and try to understand their perspective and emotional reactions. And that's one of the things that will help also strengthen that friendship
Mhm.
that you have. when you listen. It's one thing to talk at somebody, talk about somebody,
Mm-hmm.
but can you talk to
To
them?
be exact. Talk to me, not at me.
Yes, or about me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those things help you to deal with your vulnerabilities, help show your
The
vulnerabilities.
beauty that comes out of when both of you are open about your weaknesses,
Mm-hmm.
meaning character flaws. The beauty in that is that no one can play the card of I'm better than you. I've got no problems and you don't, and then lord that over you.
Yes.
Because both of you being open about your vulnerabilities, because both you in a healthy, balanced relationship, you both are there to try to help one another to move your relationship so that it is more healthy. It is more, how can I say it, together under the eyes and guise of friendship and unity.
Yes.
Yeah. Next one. Debrief what? What is
Difficulties.
that all about?
Difficulties will arise in your relationship. That's
Mm-hmm.
just how things go when you're trying to combine two lives together.
Oh, yeah, especially in
Yes.
an environment that says you can't be friends, but you can be lovers. You can be lovers, but you can't be friends. And why would you want a friend in your relationship anyway?
Right. And here's the thing that always gets me with that. You can have a friend and you can say, "This is my friend. This is my best friend. I
Mm-hmm.
love this person so much."
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going to be in a relationship.
Mm.
I'll find somebody that, you know, I like in bed, or somebody that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have my back, but they look good, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But that person that I love so much because they've had my back, because I've had their back, because we
Mm-hmm.
have grown together, you know, that person may be good enough for all those other things, but not good enough to be
Mm-mm.
in a committed relationship with me past friendship. There's something seriously wrong with that ideology.
Well, that ideology is very well prevalent now. Hey,
And
let's look
and
at
that
some.
was that thing that
Mm-hmm.
I was getting ready to say earlier, that I said it was going to come back around sometime.
Mm-hmm.
It came back around.
Hey, let's look at this as for if you want more information, or if you're in a relationship where you would like to talk to someone that are who would not let anyone know what's going on, and something really touched you in what we're talking about, which is I need to feel more human in my relationship,
Hmm.
and I'm not. I'm really not. We've been glad to help you as coaches to move you in your relationship so that you can feel more humane and
Yes.
feel like you're more human. Meaning, in this case, I'm going to use the word more authentic. When you're more humane, then you're feeling more authentic about yourself in that relationship.
Hmm.
We got some information right up there that you can see below. You can get a hold of us. One of them is our email address, which is ttjt at takingthejourney-together.com. Again, that's ttjt at takingthejourney-together.com. When you get a hold of us, we'd love to talk with you. We'd love to help you out so that you can continue to move on. There might be some things that you didn't even want to talk about here, because we always leave it open for people to talk if they want to at the same time. Where else are we at, Sharon?
Well,
That people can hear us.
we are also
Oops, not there.
on WRUU. It's a radio station on Saturday mornings from
Mhm.
9 to 10 a.m. And we are talking about healthy relationships also. So that's WRUU.org, where you can listen to us on Saturday mornings, Eastern Standard Time, from 9 to 10 a.m. And then you can also
What?
find us.
Where?
You can also go back on Taking the Journey Together,
Mm-hmm.
and you can look at some of our past shows.
Oh yes,
Yes.
we're definitely. Let's see when it comes to the archive show that you can always pick up. In fact, the archive shows are kind of like what old guy said to me one time. It's like putting some information in a freezer, and then sometime in life you may have to bring it back out and use it.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, let's continue on. I wish we had some people who were open enough to want to talk with us. We miss our two guests that we usually talk with. One is having a personal thing going on in the family. Hopefully the young lady Latita will do well. Say a prayer for her. She had a death in her family, and that's why she can't be here. Other one, Dr. Frazier. We're trying to figure out what's going on with him. We haven't heard from him lately. He could be in that Rip Van Winkle sleep again. Has not came out to the rest of the world. I don't know. But we miss both of them and send a love and blessing and energy to them at the same time. But anyway, let's move on. You were talking about what again, Sharon?
I was talking about the way people will claim to be such a great friend and everything and love this person more than they love the world, but they don't love them enough to be in a relationship with them.
Or they don't love them enough, as we're looking on our notes, where they really want to share value of empathy in their life.
Exactly.
They don't have much empathy for you.
Right.
I use the old saying, they just ain't really into you.
Yeah.
They may play that they are, or they may even use a statement, I love you more than what you can ever know. My answer is, you are absolutely right. I'll never know, because you certainly are not presenting it to me in actions whatsoever from there. So those are people who block in this case. Okay. Yes. They're blocked, and they establish what we call debriefing, a word right here, debriefing difficulties.
Exactly.
And we want to be able to get over those difficulties because they arise in a relationship. Yeah. And what a difficult time that would be if you're in a relationship with someone that actually feels that way. Right?
Yes. And this is not necessary for every little conflict, but could be helpful when tensions are running high. You know, when you and your partner find it helpful to look at a disagreement, an argument, or something like that. And sometimes we need to do that. We need to dissect, how did we get to this point? But that's one of those things that we never get schooled or instructed or directed to do to help our relationship. Okay, the heat of the moment is over. Now let's sit down and talk about, in a very humane manner, what you were feeling before you got there, each of you. Because 9 times out of 10, when there is an argument or something of that sort, it's not just one person is upset. It's both people are upset, and possibly over 2 different things. But the fact that they both met at a boiling point in their own situations caused the relationship to spike, spike a spark. So it's time to sit down and talk about it after after things have calmed down.
And we're not talking about you have to do that off of any and every conflict, especially for those out there who say it don't take all that anyway. Arguments are argument. We'll move on. So don't even worry about it. No, we're not saying that every little conflict that you should be doing. But when tensions are running high, you and your partner need to find a helpful way to look at disagreements.
Yes, that's exactly what
ask those kind of questions. How did we handle this situation? What was different that we could do in the future?
Yeah.
What were we afraid of doing the heat of the argument, and what mistakes did we look at? All of these are the kinds of elements I find in the African tradition or philosophy called Sankofa, where you go back in life and you look at things in the past and the things that were just not comfortable, and you find what is a healing or a help in that situation.
Right.
You know, that's what you learn from.
Yes.
These questions will help you learn from that. I think that's one of the things that we don't like to do in a relationship, because we think it'll take all that. Meaning we're going to have these kind of arguments all the time. You already said, Mr. Taking the Journey Together guy, that life is not perfect and you're going to have. No, we are saying that maybe you're having high tension sides that is leaning more than what you're having no tension sides, and there's really no balance. And you got more of a survival relationship where you're fighting like cats and dogs, if not physically, definitely in your mind.
Yes.
And you're not going through the process of using the Sankofa principle, asking those questions, being bold and comfortable enough to ask the questions, because both are not perfect. So you can find a way of how to make it more balanced and bring some peace in your relationship,
Right.
not just accept it as for pieces of a relationship.
And that's the sad thing, because that's what it will turn into.
Yeah.
Is pieces of a relationship. And sometimes those pieces cannot be put back together in a puzzle. You know how you put a puzzle together, and there's sometimes that one piece in the middle that holds it all together that's missing, or the one piece on the edge that is missing.
Okay.
You know, it'll never fit. It'll never work until you fix that piece.
Exactly. And you never know, like on that, what's that game that does that plays with those pieces? Jig Jaggy or something. You build stuff on
Jigsaw. Jenga.
Jenga.
Yes.
And you never know what piece you pull out
that's going to make it fall apart.
The whole thing falls apart.
Yes.
The whole thing falls apart. So we have to be rational in our conversations. We have to make sure. I was the next one. I'm sorry. We have to debrief our difficulties.
Yes.
We can't just keep on overlooking and figure, I'm not going to worry about it. No, it's going to escalate. It's going to get worse. It's going to build. It's going to have a life of its own.
Yes, it definitely will. And we should probably get ready to start closing out here rather than starting on another one.
It's about 53 minutes. I think we got about 4 minutes left. So
3-4 minutes. Yes. And so, so as we look at what we went over today of debriefing difficulties, and being able to be vulnerable and sharing certain values, those are things that are going to make a big difference in how your relationship goes. And even if you didn't marry your friend, become friends.
Yes.
Find out what makes each other tick. Find out the things that you enjoy
together. Find out their love language.
Yes.
Work hard to master their love language. And that becomes a good foundation of being able to connect and build a balanced relationship. Not the idea of, nah, this is enough. Can't do any more from that particular end. And when it comes to this love thing you're talking about, I'll use my love language or what I think is going to do well for them to fix them.
Yeah.
Instead of finding out what they need as their love language that you can then use to help fix them.
Yes. And spend time
and
together.
Vice versa, of course.
Exactly. Oh, definitely vice versa. Everything always goes both ways.
Yes.
And spend time together where you just focus on one another.
I want to read this real quickly. Debriefing difficult moments in your relationship can allow you to learn from your mistakes.
Yes.
Continually doing the things that work and establish a new pattern for navigating difficulties moving forward. You want to read that again too?
Yes. It says, debriefing difficult moments in your relationship can allow you to learn from your mistakes. Learn from your mistakes. Continue doing the things that work and establish new patterns for navigating or maneuvering difficulties moving forward. Maneuvering through difficulties.
I love how you read it. That was like building blocks.
Yes.
3 building blocks.
Yes.
Is what debriefing does.
Yes.
Let you learn from your mistakes. Okay. It continues to do the things that work because you're learning from the mistakes not to do it again, which is what the Sankofa principle is all about. But it also helps you establish what? New patterns that navigate.
Yes.
Hey, you don't have to be the same, always the same, and it's never going to change. That's what you hear all the time in a relationship. You don't have to have that in a balanced,
thriving, healthy relationship.
Friends. You don't have to.
Do not.
You can learn and in turn move to do better and be better. Hey, we want to say appreciate you listening to us. Make sure that you take your time out to send your love and your blessings to that person you love and that person you care about. Don't forget about sharing this out with your friends, your partner, and maybe your enemy. No.
Well, sometimes that might be what your enemy needs, is to know that
Exactly.
you're being humane and have something good to share with them.
Exactly. Remember, when we do come on 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every Thursday, you can always call us. You can always, well, you can't call us in this case, but you can always email us or text us, to be exact, to get to us
or go
quickly.
in or put something in the comment box.
Exactly, which is like a text.
Yeah.
And no question is, how can I say it? Stupid. No question is stupid. In fact,
or unwelcome.
Unwelcome. In fact, you will make us feel and yourself more unwelcome if you don't ask those questions. You will actually be, how can I say it, leaning on the dumb side if you don't ask those questions, because you know you want some answers. You know you at the same time have something that you need and want to hear to help you out in your relationship. Otherwise, you wouldn't be on there listening to us, right?
Exactly. And I like to always say one of the things that I got from Patti LaBelle, that has to do with blessings. If you don't ask and see what you can do to better your relationship, you're blocking your blessings. Not only your blessings, but the blessings of the person that you say you love, because you're keeping your relationship from being what it needs to be and what it could be. So ask.
Exactly.
It's okay.
All right. Until next time, God bless. Ashe, and keep that relationship what?
Keep it going. Keep it growing. Keep it healthy.
She always gets on me by not saying together.
Well, because that was not, it's like keep taking the journey together.
Well, anyway, keep it going. Keep it together. Until next time. Peace.
Like this.